And so that's not going to interfere with it. And the sod here in Croke Park is peculiar, and I think it's particular to this stadium. The ball skids off it at a faster rate than it does nearly any place else in the country. So anybody who doesn't bring the ball under control first time, it's going to skid away from them. It's going to be very difficult. Down at the railway end, or the old railway end as we used to call it, there was a bit of damage there and resodding from the U2 concert. So that has been slippy even on the dry days over the last few weeks. I don't know what it's going to play out like today, but I suppose Mayo haven't found down there what they're looking for either, so hopefully it might come today.
It's a good line, I like that.
Yeah, good line.
Did you get that from Pat?
Yeah.
Not only are we going to play this game in the rain, Joe Bradley, we're actually going to play it under floodlights as well, because it is actually very dark here.
Yeah, but there's a big atmosphere, you know.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mayo have done absolutely nothing to this point, you know. As Eamon Sweeney said today, you know, you don't applaud the great tenor for clearing his throat. And, you know, they've beaten a succession of poor teams. Any one of them could have beaten them. So, you know, the issue for them is whether the replay against Roscommon has been enough of a boost of confidence to them, because we know that although it's not a great Kerry team, they will play with absolute conviction, like all Fitzmaurice's teams, because they're Kerry, because he has them well organised and they're tough and they'll battle to the end. The issue always is with Mayo, will they match that conviction? Because there's very little between the teams, Pat, isn't there?
Yeah. The minor match is going on here at the moment. Pat, Kerry are leading that against Cavan and looks like they're going to win it, although there's 10 minutes of extra time after a couple of injuries.
Yeah, this is a very impressive Kerry minor team. Right?
Get freeze. And it's uncannily similar to the way Kerry treated Michael Murphy in the 2014 final. That's what you've got to do with players like that, or they will do what Michael Murphy did in the 2012 final against Mayo. And today, if Mayo stand off the way that they've been doing, this is the linchpin of the game. Because if the first ball goes in and Donaghy wins it and sticks it in the net, this game's over. Forget about the game. It's dead. It's gone. So this is a huge contest for Mayo and a huge challenge for them to negate this, because they're not used to doing it. They're not used to warfare around the square. We know they changed their fullback the last day, brought in Brenton Harrison, who's a good tight cornerback and a good tight man marker, but they need more than that today. They need to go to war with Donaghy.
The team coming out there, Pat, as we can see, by the way, now I know they're wearing their rain tops at the moment, but the two teams today are playing in alternative colours because of the colour clash.
They are. I mean, it's interesting when you listen to Joe and listen to everyone talking about Donaghy in the last 2 weeks. And the media seem to be driven by two things. That this is a new Mayo team, that after their performance against Roscommon, everyone is hyping up Mayo now on the basis of a performance against a team who didn't turn up on the day. And Donaghy is now reborn again.
Yeah.
Now, somewhere in between is correct.
Yeah.
Agreed, he had a brilliant game in full forward against Galway. Bear in mind, he was on a guy, young Walsh, making his championship debut. Now, he's up against seasoned campaigners there. Now,
well, he wrecked them 3 years ago.
The one thing I see,
them in
like I look at the two quarter-finals, and I know from a Kerry point of view, Kerry were very disappointed with their performance in the quarter-final. Allied to that was the fact that Roscommon, or Mayo's brilliant performance against Roscommon's replay, have put them on alert. And I know you don't get much from training. You learn very little.
Yeah.
But Kerry were hurting from that quarter-final performance. They know they have to improve their performance. And the one good indicator I see, for the first time, last Saturday in the A versus B game, for the first time this year, the A's hammered the B's.
Right.
Now, that's a sign that they're clicking, they're starting to come to form. Now, how good are Kerry? I'm not too sure. I think, as Joe alluded to, I don't think they're two great teams. They were probably better teams 3 years ago when they met in 2014. There are a lot of question marks over them, but it'll be interesting. Looking forward to it.
The one thing about it, Colin, for me is, Pat referenced there the game against Roscommon. After the drawn match, I thought to myself, this Mayo team are gone. They're just running out of puff in it. And of course, they were a completely different team. So the question now, I suppose, is, have they got another gear? Have they found a bit of rejuvenation?
I think they have. I think that what we saw against Roscommon is maybe some people would call it the last kick, because I think it is the last kick from this team. Whenever they are beaten, there is no All-Ireland in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. A lot of these players now are at an age where, you know, they're facing the trapdoor, and, you know, the next defeat could spell the end of quite a few of these players. And, you know, there's nothing to concentrate the mind and the fear of a hanging. And I think because of that, Mayo in that replayed game put on the show of the year so far in terms of good quality football, and showed us that in that Mayo team, apart from braveness and resilience and all the other qualities you associate with them, they still have a huge amount of very good individual players. And it took until that game until they all clicked together. And that is the Mayo we know. Like, they have a lot of players who are as good, if not better, than individual Kerry players. So I think this is a proper contest.
I think it is. You're right there. OK, we are going to take a break for a short while here at Croke Park. More in our build-up to the big game. That's right after that.
Tradition is very much with Kerry, but I'm sure, Desi, that Mayo will today relish the challenge.
They will indeed. You know you're going to get a certain level of performance from this Kerry team. This is Mayo's 8th match today. Stephen Rochford will be under a little bit of pressure to tactically get the decisions right. Against Roscommon, they were excellent. Their attitude was excellent. Their running power, tactically very good, and a great performance. Hopefully we see that Mayo team again today.
Absolutely. Well, then just remind ourselves of how the teams are going to line out this afternoon. And Kerry with Brian Kelly in goal. He played in both semi-final matches against Mayo 3 years ago. His full back line has been changed, with Shane Enright and Foyle Moore's Mark Griffin now linking up with Killian Young, for whom this is a 58th championship appearance. In front of them will be a half-back line, anchored by Tig Morley from Temple No, with former All-Star Paul Murphy expected to bring his usual high level of intensity to this afternoon's proceedings. Kerry are blessed to have centre fielders of the calibre of David Moran and Anthony Marr, with Jack Barry held in reserve. Leading the half-forwards is the team captain Johnny Buckley from Dr. Croaks in Killarney, while there's a place as well for the pacey Stephen O'Brien, coming in for the injured Donncha Walsh. And you'll hardly find a more potent inside forward line than Paul Gainey, the towering Kieran Donaghy, and former Footballer of the Year James O'Donoghue. Between them they share 30 championship goals, which will ensure a busy afternoon for Mayo's David Clark, but then he is the current All-Star goalkeeper. His full back line has undergone a little reshaping. However, two crucially important elements remain in Brendan Harrison and Keith Higgins. Back at half-back is the recovered Lee Keegan, playing in his 40th championship match, which is also the case for Colin Boyle, a player who excelled in the 2 matches against Roscommon. Centre field today will be the resilient Seamus O'Shea and Tom Parsons, now free of injury. Kevin McLaughlin scored a cracking goal in the quarter-final replay, while his fellow half-forwards Aidan O'Shea and Diarmuid O'Connor were consistently prominent on Monday week last. And up front, Kerry don't need any reminding about Killian O'Connor, who scored 3 goals and 13 points in those 2 semi-final matches with the Kingdom back in 2014, while Andy Moran first faced Kerry opposition 13 years ago. It's been another eventful championship for Mayo boss Stephen Rochford, once again challenging his team to lift their game as they face into the Munster and League champions.
What kind of a toll has all the game time taken on you this year?
I don't think it's taken any sort of physical toll in a negative manner. It's probably asked a lot of questions of us, and you know, in most of those cases we've found answers, maybe with a couple of times having to get there. But look, you know, we're in an All-Ireland semi-final and a massive game ahead of us.
Kieran Donaghy, a lot of focus on him in the build-up. What is your plan to curtail him? Yeah,
well, look, we'll have to see how the game plays out. But I mean, Kerry have a number of threats, you know, and that's even coming out of their defence through midfield and into that full forward line with James O'Donoghue, Paul Gainey and Kieran. So look, you know, it'll be a busy day, no doubt, but we're going to do our best and see how we get on.
The big game is less than 20 minutes away. We are going to take a short break before we head
as a ball winner, but his big strength is that running at defences, either drawing a defender, drawing the foul.
Nobody would have ever stopped him from doing that. So you could never call Aidan O'Shea Mayo's top player, because he hasn't performed in the really big games. So people expect this of him all the time.
He has been their top player this year.
But people Colin, are also expecting more. Pat alluded to it there a moment ago. From the Mayo attack, often seen as not coming up to the full potential. Do you see changes in them at the moment?
Well, I do see changes from the Roscommon game, because it did appear, now I know that the Roscommon defending was shambolic, but it did appear as if somebody said to these fellas, OK lads, attack at every opportunity, and not only run with the ball, but run straight at the defence. And this is Kevin McLaughlin going, OK, he gets away with a double hop, but he finishes very neatly with his weak foot, his right foot, into the net. But the other thing,
Certainly, Mayo have momentum and probably saved their best performance from last, coming in to semi-final at the best of form. I can make arguments against Kerry. They haven't been tested yet. Their defence looked leaky against Cork and against Galway, conceding goal chances. At the same time, I think Kerry got their fright in the quarter-final. Poor performance. I look at a Kerry team that haven't been defeated since the third round of the National League back in the end of February. A team who have cruised to this stage without being tested. I think Kerry will win for two very simple reasons. It's based on the premise that they get a platform at midfield, 50-50 midfield. But where would Kerry have the advantage? Kerry's full forward line have the beating of the Mayo full back line. And the second thing is that I believe Kerry have more impact subs to come off the bench than Mayo. So Kerry's full forward line and Kerry's subs bench to point Kerry to a narrow 3-4 point win.
And in the modern game and in sport, field games in general, the players you can bring in, the subs, that is crucial, isn't it?
Well, I mean, everything that Pat said is indisputable. And you know, a huge consideration today is that Mayo in the last quarter against Derry, when they turned the game, and in the replay against Roscommon, they did that was a brilliant zonal defensive approach to the opposing kick-out. They pushed up on it, they covered the gaps, they tempted kick-outs, and they crushed Roscommon in those, and they crushed Derry in the last quarter on an extra time with them. And that platform we see, which allows their halfbacks to attack, they must build that against Kerry, because don't forget that the first 11 kick-outs that Roscommon took, Kerry knocked off, or Mayo knocked off 9 of them, and the game was therefore over very, very quickly, and that's what allowed their halfbacks to attack. The reality remains, of course, that Mayo are very dependent on that half-back line. Yeah. And Eamon Fitzmaurice, being Eamon Fitzmaurice, I have no doubt that Lee Keegan's going to be man-marked today. I would have thought Paul Murphy, who's cut from the same cloth as Lee, is exactly the type of player to do that. But in the end, I mean, it's about conviction. Mayo have been beaten by Kerry in the past, been beaten by the bigger teams in the past on big days, because they've lacked the ruthlessness, lacked the conviction to push on through, and there have been a million different excuses. But that's what it boils down to in the end. And I mean, if Mayo can play with conviction, they can beat Kerry.
So who'll win?
Colin O'Rourke, go on here.
Who'll win, Joe?
I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, Colin O'Rourke, we've mentioned it already, obviously. It's a wet day here at Croke Park. Will that affect the dynamic of this game, do you think?
It certainly will, even though skillful players play in these sort of conditions, and oftentimes they prosper greatly in these type because they're able to sell dummies, they'll flick up the ball, they'll be able to play tricks that lesser player wouldn't. But looking at those Mayo jerseys, they're a bit psychedelic in the parade there. I just cast my mind back to the time Alex Ferguson dumped out the Man United set because he said they couldn't see each other. They were sort of a grey-black at that time. I hope Mayo don't suffer for the same problems. But I think Joe's point is right. Mayo have to push up very hard on the Kerry kick-out because, again, the point that Pat makes is the Kerry full forward line are better. There is no doubt about that than the Mayo full forward line. But I think there's something about Mayo. I think they're going to keep on coming. They have a great diamond around the middle of the field. I think they're going to win an awful lot of possession there. I can't see Mayo winning by more than 7 or 8 points.
I see that Mayo are wearing the...
And it's a bit of a surprise, maybe just back covering for the minute, but certainly he's in position at the full back line.
Well, it's Cillian O'Connor is going to take this first free kick of the match from just outside the 20-metre line. Needs a good start, and he's got that good start, or has he? Off the post and back down once again, into giving the easy ball back in as far as his midfield ally, hanging in the air. Donaghy can't get to it, so O'Shea has done his job in that particular instance, but then you wonder if it's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
I think a lot of people will be surprised with that, Ger.
Down as far as Diarmuid O'Connor, who excelled in the replay against Roscommon 13 days ago. Looking for a bright start here. Enterprisingly kicked in towards his brother. It breaks down to Andy Moran. Andy's done it. 4 minutes are gone. It's the dream start. Great ball in here.
Yeah, great ball there by Diarmuid O'Connor. Fell nicely to Andy Moran, and what a finish. And to say if there's a vulnerability in this Kerry team, it is in that full back line, and certainly they're exposed there.
Well, they've richly exploited any vulnerability. And what a start that is. And here comes Keith Higgins. Held on to strongly by Jason Doherty. Turning looking to put this one inside the left-hand upright, but he hasn't measured it the way he wanted. And it's a chance gone a-begging. But the ground still here rocking following this score here. An 8th ever championship goal by Andy Moran, the 33-year-old from Ballaghaderreen.
Yeah, and a great start by Mayo, and the supporters are getting a lot of encouragement from their play so far.
And it was Dermot O'Connor who put in that high ball. Killian, his brother, back out around the 50-metre line at this stage. Inside here to Colin Boyle. Transferred to Doherty, who missed one a few moments ago. This one bounces off the top of the crossbar. Well, this time goes over the bar as well. And there's a point for Jason Doherty, the Burrashul man.
Yeah, and these Mayo players are up for it. I suppose we've seen that in the Roscommon player. What was their attitude like? It was excellent that day, and they've continued that form on.
The last thing I think they wanted today, Mayo, was a moral victory in the sense that they only went down by a point or two. This is one they wanted to win.
Yeah, it's all about attitude today, and so far we've seen it. The Kerry lads are a little bit rock so far, but I'd imagine they'll settle into the game.
Shane Enright trying to bring a bit of composure to play back there, with Peter Crowley get his first touch of the ball as well. David Moran's been involved. Griffith's game, look at the number of players surrounding him, but there's a free man just ahead, Peter Crowley. Kerry needing a score just to settle them down. An opportunity maybe for Paul Gainey. Back in towards O'Donoghue once again, kicking under pressure. And that pressure was sufficient, but the referee is going to bring the play back.
Yeah, he's coming back for a late free on Paul Gainey.
Semi-final appearances for Kerry. They need this one to go over the bar, even at this early stage, 8.5 minutes in, just to reassure themselves. Light breeze now just beginning to whip up a little bit into his face. So can he make it? He certainly can. Playing in his 21st championship match, this young fan, not showing a lot of reaction yet, but I'm sure his dad is going to tell him now, you clap for that. Yeah. Kerry are on the way.
Just watching Aidan O'Shea.
James O'Donoghue trying to turn away there from Chris Barrett. Very fast, lovely ball, beautifully threaded inside here. Again, what a steal that is! As he was on his way, ready to pull the trigger. Great defensive work, and they're still at 6s and 7s back there before Dermot O'Connor brings a measure of reassurance to the defensive play.
And what a tackle there by Keith Higgins, excellent defender, but I think his confidence after a Roscommon game is shot up. Brilliant performance that day.
He kicks, similar distance out. He wasn't going to miss that one.
It's good for his confidence, nice easy free to start off with, but certainly you can see early on that they're putting a lot of pressure on David Clark and his kickouts and his free taking.
That was brilliantly done there. Just watch this again. It was Keith Higgins, as you said there, Desi, got in the hand. And it's Keith Higgins again, bursting forward. Two men ahead of him. One of them is Jason Doherty. Lovely turn, took the full-back away completely. Out to Andy Moran, who's got the goal already in this game. And he tags on a point.
Yeah, great play there by Keith Higgins. Brilliant attacking player. I think he's a much better play in the half forward line. Kicked an excellent ball into Jason Doherty, who's been very good this year, and a great score by Andy Moran. As
we have known for some time, there is quite a bit to be gained by running straight through the heart of that Kerry defence. Fascinating match. Peter Crowley just about did get to it eventually, got there ahead of Chris Barrett. But coming in once again to take possession, it's Keith Higgins. Free kick, which is taken by Donald Vaughan. Back out as far as Seamus O'Shea. Tom Parsons not able to take the ball, wasn't a good pass to him. Intervened, there was Marr. Back out as far as Donaghy. Kieran Donaghy setting up a chance for O'Brien! Stephen O'Brien! Teams are level. 13 minutes are gone. What a mix-up in the middle of the field by Mayo, however.
Yeah, but watch Kieran Donaghy slip away from Aidan O'Shea. He's not tight enough at all on him. Got caught out of position, and certainly you would say he was at 6s and 7s there.
What a response. At the other end, it's Colin Boyle coming downfield, ready to kick. He scored against Tipperary in last year's semi-final. He's missed this one, however. Hugh stands his ground. Has support. Two players looking for it. Killian Young goes forward. Want to get it back onto his left, maybe. Well, he has a go with the right. It's not half bad. Oh, it's come off the post and it's gone over. On his 6th ever championship point and a fine career.
Yeah, great score there by Killian Young, known for his left foot, and I think Keith Higgins was covering his left foot, expecting him to turn back, and he took it on the right in a fabulous finish. But again, you've seen Aidan O'Shea a couple of yards off Kieran Donaghy.
Out to Mikey Gainey once again. Switch of direction then by Killian Young. Inside to Morley once more. 23-year-old from Temple No. Kicked forward by Peter Crowley. Beautiful pass as far as James O'Donoghue, taking on Chris Barrett, steadying himself, looking to put two between them. Umpires thinking about it. Gets a white flag.
The Mayo players are not too happy with that, waving it wide, but great play from James O'Donoghue, taking on Chris Barrett at every opportunity.
And suddenly it's 1-4 to Warren. His strength and his danger, I would have thought, at the other end.
Yeah, you would imagine that based on his performance in the couple of games up front that he'd be certainly there, but I've never seen him playing full-back, and I would say Kieran Donaghy is getting the better of him so far.
This is Kevin McLaughlin, who's getting the better of a few of the Kerry backs. Gives it out as far as Andy Moran once again. He's on song. It's a goal and two for Andy.
Great play and great start from Andy Moran. He's out in front, showing strong, and if there is a vulnerability in this Kerry team, it's in that full-back line.
Only one between them.
And I suppose they didn't want runners coming from that half-back line. I suppose that might be the tactic involved.
Which is exactly what Mayo were trying to do. That's where they have had some gains so far. Seamus O'Shea, everything clogged up around the middle third, so he goes long. Really good ball down as far as Jason Doherty. Now quick transfer back to Boyle. Worked inside to Killian O'Connor. Laid off once again to Andy Moran. Trying to slip it back out to Boyle. Loses his man. Has a support player. Doesn't need him. Finishes with a plum. What a move and what a goal. A first ever in the championship by 31-year-old Colin Boyle from Davits. And it's come after 20 minutes.
And all of this is coming from a great ball in. Jason Doherty took it up. Mark Griffin is struggling badly on it, but great composure from Colin Boyle. Might have been a question of steps, but what a finish.
He finished with the accuracy of a corner forward or full forward. Deadly marksmanship. What a good 20 minutes we've had. The number of scoring opportunities so far availed of by both of these teams. And it is Anthony Maher once again threatening. And that one has gone just. And this is match 8. They've tended to take Boyle off after about 50-55 minutes.
Yeah.
Too sure what the meters are saying on the GPSs, etc.
I think Colin Boyle will be happy to see the back of them GPSs, because obviously there's a reason he gets taken off.
Jason Doherty once again back as far as Killian O'Connor, looking for his first score. What a time to get it. Mayo attacking freely here in the semi-final has been completed as early as the 22nd minute. Jack Savage coming in for his 4th ever championship match. That's going to be attacked there by Seamus O'Shea. Won back by McLaughlin. All the way in towards Killian O'Connor. They're taking the Kerry defence to bits on occasions. He's got a second go. Oh, they still can't finish. Andy Moran. Oh, it ends up going over the bar off one of the Kerry defenders. He's got a point at it, but they should have got a goal.
Yeah, I think it clipped his foot as well. But what an opportunity again for Mayo. Great play from Seamus O'Shea in the middle.
They are capable of ripping them apart, it seems.
Yeah, I know it came off his shoulder from Shane Enright, but a great block. But certainly that full back line are being exposed today.
Kerry in a real match here. Mayo are up for this. Diarmuid O'Connor decided that there was nothing accruing there for Kerry. He was going to give them the free kick. Paul Gainey has scored just 1 point so far from a free kick. They've been very disappointed so far, I think, with the level of support he has got from his colleagues, a number of passes into him and the amount of service he's been given, which hasn't been great. But this is a really good kick, and that's his second pointed free.
Yeah,
Stephen O'Brien launching this one in towards Donaghy, saying, up you go, man. And it's the other basketball player, Aidan O'Shea, who's won it. Big roar of approval from the huge throngs of Mayo fans here in Croke Park.
I think we found a reason why he's there. That high ball, the Mayo crowd were delighted to see him coming out with it.
I think they're bringing a jump ball to Gaelic football.
Yeah, and he's such a powerful man. I think he hasn't lost a throw-up all year, Aidan O'Shea. It just gives you the size of his physical presence, and he loves contact.
7th year in a row he's been in a semi-final of the championship. Chris Barrett back as far as Diarmuid O'Connor. Change of direction by Keith Higgins.
Forward screaming from the ball everywhere, and at this level he should have given it off.
Stephen O'Brien able to counter-attack here. Maher playing it outside. Picked up again here, this time by Paul Murphy. Yellow carded a couple of moments ago. Inside towards Donaghy. This time a better ball for him. Now quick look up, just to see what's on. He's got to go for himself. Had the confidence, why not? With scoring ability like that. First point of the day for Kieran Donaghy in his 64th championship match.
Yeah, but like, he's great awareness, Kieran Donaghy. He's much more than just a target man. His level of shooting ability is excellent, and that was a great finish.
So it's had a couple of points in a row now for Kerry, and Gay need to make sure that's 3 in a row.
And I think you've seen James O'Donoghue's confidence back. He's playing a lot well. He's doing very well on James O'Donoghue, and every opportunity he wants to take him on. And at the same time, Paul Gainey, he's been
3 from 3 so far, and this will level up the scores with 2 minutes to go to half-time. Another big cheer from the Kerry followers this time. So it's 1-8. Brush aside Stephen O'Brien. Give it off as far as Jason Doherty. Boyle once again, trying to worm his way in here somehow. He's managed to escape the clutches, and he's kicked it wide. It was a big cheer to parity. Kieran Donaghy has been central to much of what's gone on with Aidan O'Shea there. It's been a subplot. A little bit of angst as well shown here as they go in with Peter Crowley and Aidan O'Shea. A couple of goals that Mayo are still celebrating. Andy Moran with a goal and 3. And
here at this semi-final is 66,195. And that is a big crowd. I'm afraid some of them are getting wet here today, but I'm sure they're enjoying the action. That column for me was a kind of slightly odd first half, in the sense that Mayo actually seemed to be playing much better than Kerry, and of course the scores are level.
Yeah, it was a gripping struggle, lots of mistakes, a lot of sloppiness, some brilliant play. Both sides look as if they could give away goals. I suppose Mayo seemed to be on top for the first 22 or 3 minutes. Were 4 points up, haven't scored for the last 13 minutes of the half. But when they go for the juggler, there is panic in the Kerry full back line. The problems that were there, Clare, Cork and Galway, have not been resolved. We can see that very clearly now. And I suppose the other side of it is James O'Donoghue and Stephen O'Brien are punching holes in the Mayo defence, and Donaghy is a big threat, even though I suppose the idea of putting Aidan O'Shea full back and Donaghy, fortune favours the brave. Mayo are going for it. It's a gripping struggle, an intense battle, but it's very hard to call it now at this stage because the pattern of play shifts from one to the other.
Yes.
If Mayo are a bit braver and just go for it, they could score more goals.
Pat, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's gripping, it's enthralling, lots of mistakes, lots of excitement. Conditions probably playing a major role. Very slippery ball, slippery ground conditions. Mayo, for 20 minutes, as Colin said, played all the football, yet the game is a draw, and it isn't a melting pot. Mayo will look... Mayo came into this game battle-hardened. They're on the back of lots of competitive games where they had to dig deep in so many matches. They were at the pitch of the game. Kerry came into on the back of three handy championship games all summer. No test, second, third gear. And for 20 minutes, Kerry were off the pace. They're off the pace. Secondly, defensively, they're all over the shop. They're wide open, but we're not surprised because Cork opened them up and Galway opened them up, only didn't. At the end of the day, do you know, Kerry are starting to get into the game. The last 18 minutes, Mayo, no score. They're pressing up on Mayo's kickouts, and if there's two failings with Mayo have lost 7 of their 13 kickouts. That's the first thing, and their free count. Freeze could decide the game. Mayo don't seem to have a consistent free taker today. Killing 2 frees, 2 misses, and fouling on the other side. Mayo have handed 5 handy frees to Kerry. Kerry's struggling. Kerry convert 5 handy scores.
That's been the difference, Pat. The five needless fouls, 5 soft frees. The last 3 scores that brought Kerry back to level, 3 needless fouls when there was no need to commit a foul. And the other big problem is that Clark's kick out has completely collapsed.
Yes,
2 over the sideline, 5 intercepted. So it's a huge burden that is put on Mayo. But on the other hand, Kerry have no strategy whatsoever to protect against goals. They're not protecting their square, and we'll see in a moment from the Piero that it is mayhem in there, and I think we're going to be able to explain exactly why it's mayhem.
We'll do that a little bit later on, but we have another break to take here on the programme. But straight after 1 goal and 8 points, Mayo 2 goals and 5 points. Joe, those 2 goals for Mayo, you have a point to make about them.
Well, it's part of, I mean, it's a damning indictment of Eamon Fitzmaurice. I mean, OK, Kerry flood the middle third, but as soon as the ball's kicked in here, inside, look at that, look at the space. There's no one guarding the goals. There's no strategy whatever for defending against goals. This is such an easy goal at this level of football. No one there, picks his spot, he's got all day long. Kerry defenders staying out the field on their men. Again, the second goal, watch it. Look at the space around the goals. That's the kill zone in there. I mean, that is absolute code red. Like, Mickey Hart would be taking to his bed for a week watching this. And again, watch the Kerry players, they stay on their men out there. And now what you see is, once he goes through, I mean, they're standing watching, they're running back towards their own goals. Again, the easiest goal imaginable. And at this level of football, I mean, as I said, this is a damning indictment of Fitzmaurice. Now look at this for a chance. Again, lovely diagonal ball. But again, Kerry defender running back towards his own goals. Mayo had 4 opportunities to stick this in the net. 1. Yeah. Again, look, still nobody back. Still hanging there. I mean, it's just zany stuff. Again, 3, and there's 4. 4 opportunities. We're not at challenges going in. And eventually what the Kerry man is thinking to himself is, I'm on my own, I've got to spread myself.
You've been making the point to us, you believe that there are better defenders in Kerry than what's out in the team.
But that's not about the defenders, that's about the system.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. I agree totally with what Joe. Kerry have come into the game with no defensive system. Yes, their defensive system, in a way, is to stop the runners at the 45 in the middle third. Yeah. But once they get past the middle third, what happens then is, I mean, the key principles in defence is you must protect the D and you must block the central channel. But because Kerry defenders man mark, so when their opposing player takes them out to the wing, that means they've opened up and created space, and that's what's happening. That's the dangers of a man-marking defence. They're exposed, and you're leaving the second.
The other hand is making for a great game of football.
Of course.
You know, so we're
Mayo conceded the goal as well.
Yes, and it was a bad mistake by Seamus O'Shea out the field, and he actually kicked the ball for a point when he shouldn't have at another time, and Donaghy came up and scored off it. Loses the ball in midfield. Look at the number of Mayo backs, though, who don't get back. Let Stephen O'Brien run right past them and sticks it in the corner of the net. Like, there was a lot of work. When Donaghy gets the ball at the 45, he was very composed in possession. Yeah. But 3 Mayo backs had an opportunity to track back in front of Stephen O'Brien. Donaghy was very composed in possession, looked up, and O'Brien has been punching holes in. But the Kerry backs, like Shane Enright, is not fit for Andy Moran. And there should have been a penalty actually in the last because the Kerry back handled the ball on the ground. But Colin Boyle, when he gets through that channel, and Higgins hasn't come through as much as in the previous match, or Keegan haven't come through. So they should be told, attack.
Give me 1 second. Picking up on what you're saying about Donaghy. I mean, on the one hand, the aerial threat has been completely stifled. Yes. Aidan O'Shea's bumping and boring him. 2 high balls have gone in. A huge roar from the Mayo faithful. But on the other hand, Aidan's lost when Kieran's getting the ball on the ground. Twice he has lost him completely.
Been brought in at this stage to try and shore up some things for Kerry that were going amiss. He did score 2 wonderful points. You might remember when he came on in extra time in Limerick 3 years ago. He's on for the second half, and Peter Crowley is venturing forward here ambitiously. Kieran Donaghy, new marker. Now, well, he had for a moment until Aidan O'Shea decided to switch back onto him again. Hard to keep up with this. Paul Gainey kicking and putting it over the bar. Excellent score by Paul Gainey. That's 5 for the day, the first to come from open play. Fed for him once again by Donaghy. Donaghy, who also fed Stephen O'Brien for the goal after some 13 minutes.
Yeah, and I do feel myself that Kieran Donaghy from general play is doing very well on Aidan O'Shea.
Killian O'Connor will take it. Booted in long. Inside towards his brother, who touches it down as far as Andy Moran, who spins beautifully and completes the move perfectly. It's a goal and 4 for him. Some afternoon for Andy Moran.
Yeah, again, the long ball in is working a treat for them. Great finish from Andy Moran, great control.
Teams level for the 3rd time. Quite a game. out here as far as Jack Barry this time. Into midfield as he was in the quarter-final against Galway. David Moore and his partner then and now. Booted down towards James O'Donoghue. Should be Chris Barrett's. Trying to get his body in front of the Kerry man, who outfoxes him. James O'Donoghue trying to turn inside here, dangerously in towards the square. Referee blows his whistle, gives a free out.
Yeah, and it looked as if there was a free on Chris Barrett initially. Just got a little nudge in the back.
You'll be certain will go for it. Aidan O'Shea on as far as Colin Boyle, just takes off. Boots it in here, 2 men to aim at. Cillian O'Connor is one of them. Transfers it quickly here. It's Donald Vaughan kicking with some assurance. He got a point the last day. He's got another one here.
Yeah, and I'm thinking there's 2 players Stephen Rogers generally takes off. One is Andy Moore and 2 is Donald Vaughan, and he certainly won't be taking him off today. Or Colin Boyle, sorry.
Both sets of defenders have had their problems this afternoon. This time it's out to Jack Barry, immediately put under pressure. Back to Killian Young. It's to wait, put it in over the head of Colin Boyle for Shane Enright. Enright blocked down brilliantly by Aidan O'Shea. Well, the value of Aidan O'Shea, whether it's as a number 11 playing as a centre forward or back there augmenting the defence, clearly illustrated. Diarmuid O'Connor kicks it forward, the referee spots a foul, gives a free kick which Mayo take quickly. Kevin McLaughlin picks it up, ready to take off, turning back, needing some assistance. Into Cillian O'Connor, taking on Killian Young, booting it well and putting it over the bar as well. 2 on the day for Cillian O'Connor.
Great ball in there, a great finish. That full back line are really struggling to cope today, and it all came from the block down by Aidan O'Shea.
From one end to the other. The referee has decided by Jack Barry, wasn't shoulder to shoulder. Andy Moore takes it quickly, very quickly to Tom Parsons. He can finish. He gets the point.
Yeah, great awareness there from Andy Moore, and great play from Tom Parsons to find him down position. But the worrying thing for this Kerry team,
just to make it awkward, make it difficult, make sure that the passes out from the back are not easy. That is a slack ball by Keith Higgins to Aidan O'Shea, and now the pressure is back on.
yeah, here's a long ball now into full forward line.
2 against 3. Starr was going for it, touched it down to David Moran, steals a march, lovely deception. There's a goal chance, great save. It can still be finished, and it is by Johnny Buckley. A second Kerry goal and a first ever in the championship for Johnny Buckley, coming after 46 minutes. Great piece of play.
And out of nowhere, great play. Kieran Donnelly won it, got to David Moore, and a great finish and an interception here.
Level again, but maybe not for too long. Kicked over the bar by Paul Gainey, his 6th. A goal and a point in the space of 60 seconds for Kerry. Now find the resolution and somehow come back strongly.
And Gerald
Harrison.
A lot of that came from that sideline that Aidan O'Shea missed, the throw ball from Keith Higgins.
And that time there's unquestionably going to be a free in. Stephen O'Brien in his angle. No need to rush. It's too much at stake. Players have committed their lives to winning an All-Ireland title. Third for him. This is the goal again. This was David Moran. Watch for the save, and then watch for the follow-up reaction of Johnny Buckley. Great credit due. Points so far. 2 from play, 1 from a free kick.
Killian Young there is encroaching pretty close to the kick as well, and Lee Keegan not happy about that.
He's certainly not back the 30
way too
metres.
close, yeah.
Way too close. And he underhit it as a result, and the referee allowed it to continue. And the hit. These teams level 5 times already in this contest. That's a great ball to Peter Crowley, taking on his man who is Diarmuid O'Connor. And O'Connor went in up and they are back in front again. 3 for O'Donoghue.